is inhabited and that Earth is part of the functioning social system. And that was the high point of this conference. Literally, the consciousness of the conference
complete
was
change.
raised.
Yes, a complete change.
Yes, and that was acknowledged by people. People acknowledged that. I think just as you were coming in, it was acknowledged. So if we take this, ending the secrecy, I think is going to be an important function of the consciousness raising. And having Henry and Bob come forth in settings like this to reveal secrets which they've lived with for so many years is like a baptism to the people and an empowerment.
Yes.
Because secrets are disempowering.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. If Bob was a key soul for me, because I spoke to Bob privately just momentarily because he's been very busy with all these other people wanting to talk with him. And we have some common connections throughout time in different places we've worked, in Belgium and such, and other places. And we both have an army background, enlisted, and but just different places at different times. But you're like, it was a confirmation to me, you know. I finally met someone that, you know, could kind of reinforce my background, and before I felt alone, you know.
There. You're in good hands. You're in good hands. This experience for me has been, and I say this not with any animosity, but this experience has been for me like a Catholic going to confession. You know, they say that confession is good for your soul. Well, speaking bluntly on secrecy and some things that have been covered up for so long, I felt an overwhelming wave of relief to have finally gone public on a couple of things that I have found to be factual and true. And one of them is that deep underground facility outside of Las Vegas, where this Air Force colonel friend of mine went through one door in Nevada, and in 2 minutes he was in Pine Gap, Australia. Now that kind of secrecy, that technology that allows that to happen, stuns people. Do you mean that we've done that? We've got that? We can do things like that? What have they been keeping from us?
I think
I don't think flashing credentials, or it's not a credential. Inside this passport that I stole from my job, there just happens to be a what do you call it here?
Stamp?
It's so simple.
Can you show it to the camera?
Well, it's a stamp in here that it says, the bearer is a member of the civilian component as defined by Article 1 of the agreement between Australia and the United States forces in Australia, signed at Canberra on May 9th, 1963. It's just one of the visas, you know, in this passport. This one's for Japan.
Could you show just the front of the passport to the camera? It's a brown-coloured official passport. It's not a normal passport.
Anyway, that's my picture.
Yeah, and we do want to say for the camera that we've actually been to, I can't say we went inside, but to the outside of this person's place of work. One of them. I'm not going to say where on the globe it was or anything else, so don't worry, Arthur. But I will say that we have gotten substantial verification that Arthur is who he says he is.
I would say total verification.
Yeah,
I tried whatever I could.
Yeah, and it was quite extraordinary.
Actually, I tried to. I encouraged them wherever this place was at one point that we traveled. I encouraged them to come and meet the security people who I knew by first name, and they were kind of reluctant to do that.
That was when we were a little more nervous than we are now. Yeah. What we did do, just for the record, it was quite fun. We accompanied Arthur into a bar where the local employees in this establishment would go in the evenings, and we just sat in a corner and watched all his old colleagues welcome him and say, hey, we haven't seen you for a while.
Right.
And that was quite fun to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, But I'm a little concerned here, Bob, that you were interrupted just now.
Sorry.
Because you were telling the story about two things that you felt gave you a great sense of relief when you disclosed them yesterday. One of them was the reality of the Stargate, the portal, the wormhole, the jump room network, so that you could one moment be in Area 51 and the next moment in Pine Gap, and that prompted Arthur to show his Australian visa was it a visa?
Yeah, it's a
It's a little
visa.
more than that.
And the second, Bob, please continue, because I want to.
Well,
I want to have this on.
it's a matter of interest to me, and it always has been, that one of the largest national security agency facilities in the world is at Pine Gap. But what most people have no understanding of is that underground at Pine Gap is one of the largest extraterrestrial facilities on the planet. Our remote viewers have been looking in on that place for years and years and years. And what I found terribly amusing, not that there's that much humor in this whole damn thing, but that facility in Australia at Pine Gap apparently is an extraterrestrial R&R center. And people say, what do you mean R&R? And it's a military term meaning rest and relaxation.
Rest and relaxation.
And I thought, how obvious, it makes sense. Aliens here having to deal with the human race, they need rest and relaxation.
They need some.
I deal with the human race, and I need rest and relaxation, which is I'm going to get when I go home tomorrow, you see. But I found it amusing, out of all of the 4 major facilities on the planet, the one in Australia is an R&R center for the guys from out there.
Arthur, have you been there? Or would you rather not? Would you rather fix me with a steely eye and not answer?
Well, let's talk about something else.
Well, let me say that you were nodding, so
I would like to
whatever
say,
that was
I'd
about.
like to say something just simple. Where's my notes? Oh, that may be slightly off course here, but a couple of things. One is we're talking about secrets and stuff. A lot of stuff gets classified secret or whatever just because you've got a stamp there and you have to do something with it. It's not.
They've gone wild.
Yeah, you just stamp everything.
They've gone
and
mad.
it gets filed away, and then it has to get declassified. It's just routine, stamp
And
every
that's an
day.
interest.
The Navy keeps secrets from the Army. The Army keeps secrets
Yes.
from the Air Force.
Yeah.
FBI keeps secrets from the
They don't trust
CIA,
each other. They
and
don't
that
trust
all
each other.
led to 9/11.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the secrecy leads, to disasters like that.
Yeah, they don't. And the thing is someone needs to be an interface between all these different groups and try and help them to communicate with each other while respecting their own boundaries. So.
And are you willing to agree with me that you were one of those people
Yes,
that kind of crossed some of those
Yes,
lines
yeah.
between
I had
various
to-
agencies?
Yes. So my customers were the whole spectrum.
Which is why you
Yeah.
kind of have the level of knowledge about the overall big picture, as
That's
we
why
call
I'm a
it.
big picture person and always a general person and not focused in one area. And I didn't ask for it, believe me, it just happens. You just get a phone call and nothing happened. I was on a phone call and would you like a job? Yes. Okay. What is it? Well, you just have to be patient and find out. That's that kind of thing. The other thing is people, at some levels, people are saying that the governments, like the presidents or whatever, or the leaders of the country, should release these secrets. But they haven't had access to this information. They get the tours of certain things, but it's very limited, and they get to see blinking lights or whatever, and that's as far as it goes, as far as I've ever been.
Arthur, the incident involving President Carter some years ago, where the President of the United States was told by the Director of Central Intelligence, Mr. President, you don't have a high enough security classification for us to tell you all this information. And sir, you don't have a need to know. Now, who was the Director of Central Intelligence at that moment? George Herbert Walker Bush, who became president. That's how damn bad it's become over the years. That's how corrosive secrecy can be, not merely to the human soul, but to the constitutional system of government. It's corrosive as hell, and it's got to stop, and I know you agree with me.
Yes, the fear thing's got to stop, and we need to alleviate the fear for people. Because all of these things, most of the things that you see in the press are just created and planned long ago, fictitious enemies. They're enemies, but a lot of them are manufactured, and some of them aren't even real. Okay, and there's a long list, and they're almost at the end of their list. They're at the very end of their list now. Good timing.
Right.
And so there's nothing else, no more rabbits to pull out of the
Wait
hat.
1 second. I want to actually say, what was your level of clearance? Because his was cosmic top secret.
Because that's a NATO.
That's NATO.
NATO's
primarily,
highest
yeah.
clearance.
Okay.
And there are levels above that. There are Q clearances
And
above that.
but you had a Q.
My first one was a Q clearance with certain letters.
Special access programs.
Yeah, but it was a Q clearance, and that was through the Department of Energy. It was Energy Research and Development Agency. Before that was the Atomic Energy Commission, and they keep changing the name, then you have to keep reprinting the paperwork and everything. I don't know why. But yeah, it was a Q clearance, and then it went to, basically from there, it varied, went up and down, from secret up to top secret, and over a period of 30 years or more. And then it ended up with top secret, SCI, and then top secret with a bunch of letters, which I still, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But it was basically...
You're not sure if you can say what...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
I would like to ask, because this is sort of meant to be a future talk, as it were.
yeah.
I fully understand and agree with you when you talk about the agenda of hyping up fear in order to make people more easily controllable. But let's ask the three of you, what is worth being